Should you apply eye makeup before or after foundation? That's an answer everyone wants to know. Although makeup has no rules, I'm going to give you 5 reasons to apply your eyeshadows either before foundation or after foundation application. So if you're ready, let's begin. On my right side, I'm going to apply eye makeup after foundation application, and on my left side, I'm going to apply eye makeup before foundation application. So only on my right side, I'm going to be using the Basma foundation in the shade 21. This is one of the best-selling stick foundations on Sephora. I normally stay away from stick foundations because they're very drying and I have super dry skin, but this foundation is hydrating, has a buildable coverage and gives a very natural finish. I'm using a large foundation brush to blend it out. I've seen it's easier to blend out stick foundations with a brush as opposed to a sponge because brushes are more dense and stick foundations have a thicker consistency as opposed to a fluid foundation. I'm going to use a little bit of concealer under my eyes and around my mouth. I'm using the Milani concealer in the shade 145. I'm going to quickly blend it out with a damp sponge. The one that I'm using is from Ofra and it's one of the softest sponges. And then I'm going to lightly set it with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. That way the base makeup is taken care of on the right side and I can demonstrate the eyeshadows on both sides. Before we start, I'm going to prime the lids, and for that I'm going to be using again the Milani concealer in the shade 135 on both sides as my eyeshadow base. The first scenario when I'm going to use an eyeshadow after applying foundation is when there is absolutely no fallout. I personally prefer to completely get done with my base makeup and then apply eyeshadows because I feel like that gives an overall clean look. And that way I don't have to mess with the eyeshadows later when I'm applying foundation. So given a situation where there's absolutely no fallout from the eyeshadows and it's not going to mess up my base makeup and I don't have to clean up all that mess after, I prefer to use the foundation first before I apply eye makeup. And if there is fallout from eyeshadows, whether it's pressed powder eyeshadows or in case I'm using loose pigment that usually has a lot of fallout, I will apply the foundation after I've applied eye makeup. That way I can clean up all the fallout before I apply foundation. If there's a lot of fallout and you end up applying the foundation before the eyeshadows, then it'll be hard to clean up underneath your eyes. And many times you'll have to reapply your foundation, which is both a waste of time and effort. My dog scratched me on my left side, so I'm going to quickly cover that up with some concealer. As you can see, there's so much fallout from this eyeshadow, and thank goodness I did not apply the foundation before using eyeshadows on my left side. The next scenario where I will use eyeshadows after applying foundation is if the eyeshadow is either lighter or a close match to my skin tone. That way, even if there's fallout, it's not too much effort to dust it off. And it's often very forgiving and you won't be able to tell. But while using darker eyeshadows, even if there's a little bit of fallout, sometimes it becomes very hard to clean up. If you try to dust off a darker eyeshadow, it can mess up the base makeup even more. So when I use darker eyeshadows, I prefer to use the foundation after completing my eye makeup. The next scenario when I'll apply eye makeup after foundation is when the eye makeup is soft, subtle, and not complicated. But if I'm working on a very complicated eye makeup look, like a cut crease or a double cut crease or with several different eyeshadow shades, then I prefer to apply eye makeup before applying foundation. That way I can completely focus on the complicated eye makeup first. If the eye makeup is more complicated, more are the chances of messing it up as well. So in case there's a mess up, it's easier to wipe it off completely and redo the eye makeup when you don't have the foundation on. More eyeshadow shades also means more fallout because every eyeshadow shade is formulated so differently. So for those reasons, I prefer to apply a complicated eye makeup before I apply foundation. The next scenario where I absolutely want to do my eye makeup after I'm done with my foundation is when I like that buffed out look in the outer edge, especially with smoky eyes. It's easier to get that beautiful cloud blending in the outer corner when the base makeup is already done. You can lay the shadows beautifully on the base, giving that stunning buffed out outer edge. And if I want a sharp edge, I often do the eye makeup before I apply foundation. That way I can clean up the outer edge with foundation and concealer after I've applied my eyeshadows. The next reason I will apply my eye makeup after applying foundation is when I'm 100% certain that I'm not going to smudge my mascara. So in case I smudge it, I prefer to apply the foundation after applying eye makeup. So in case I smudge the mascara, I can always clean up before I apply my base makeup. As you can see, there's no fallout on my right side and it looks pretty clean. But on my left side, there's a lot of fallout. There's a lot of debris under my eyes and it's a mess. Let me clean up on my left side so I can show you how much of fallout there actually is. So imagine if I'd already applied the foundation, it would have been very difficult to clean up. And for those reasons, I prefer to apply the foundation after I've applied eye makeup for the reasons mentioned for my left side. I'm going to go ahead and apply the Basma foundation on my left side as well. And then I'm going to show you how to fix the fallout and how to clean up the edges of my eyeshadows to make it look absolutely stunning. Now I'm using concealer. Again, it's the Milani concealer in the shade 145 and I'm using it in areas where I have uneven skin tone. And I'm also going to use it to sharpen the outer edge of my eyeshadows. And to blend it out, I'm going to be using a damp sponge. And then using the Laura Mercier translucent powder, I'm going to start setting my face first in areas where I use the concealer to prevent it from creasing. Then I'm going to lightly set my entire face with a powder brush. And as you can see, now that eyeshadow is taking shape and it looks very neat. And my friends, those are the reasons I either apply eye makeup before or after applying foundation. What would you prefer? Do you like applying eye makeup first or foundation first? Let me know in comment section below and check out the description box for all the products that I used today. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I love you guys so much and I will see you soon with a brand new one. Bye guys.